Good morning. Good morning. I'm making sure we're getting it all together this morning. It is a many great blessing to see this morning. I am Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates 80. Did I say 89? That's not true. For the House of Delegates, it's 93rd District. Uh, Let me get Instagram going and then we can jump right into my plan today for us is to my plan. So let me get Instagram ready. So good morning, Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for House Delegates 93rd District. Hope you all are well. Good Morgan, certified doers, up and at it. I cannot take y'all up this morning. Good morning, certified doers. All right. So first things first. What I'm gonna do is what I want to do today is give you just like a quick brief of where we are because we're halfway through session. Tell you some of the important bills that have been happening. Just overview of some of the important policy that has been happening, and then hopefully take your questions. If you already have a question about something that's happened across the state or in district or whatever, please just go ahead and drop it in the comments. If you've already know what you want to ask, just throw it in there. So two things before I get started. Number one, I am having Certified Doers Day at the Capitol. That is March 6th. That's a Tuesday, March 6th in Richmond at the General Assembly building. It's on my newsletter. If you want to join, just come on up. We have a room we're going to invite you to. It's going to be great. We're asking people to wear yellow. I'm going to teach you how to advocate, and we're going to do all the good things. So that part, right? Number two, also, if you're signed up for my newsletter, and we should be putting something on social today, we'll have a virtual town hall with the entire delegation this Saturday at 10:30 a.m. It should be quick, down and dirty, just where our bills are, what our bills are doing, and things like that. Number three. I feel like there's a number three. Ooh, we're getting ready for Norfolk Can Fly. So that'll be April 27th. I want you to start marking your calendars. It is a dope event. I love it. I'm glad that we get the opportunity to put it on every single year in conjunction with Fly Norfolk. We're bringing diversity into aviation. If you or somebody you know are into aviation, it is an amazing time, amazing event, family fun, friendly event at Norfolk International Airport. We got like the spaceport people coming, so some virtual reality, all that. So April 27th, there is an Eventbrite. All of this stuff is going out in my newsletter on Friday. So if you have not, go to the website or go to, if you're on Instagram, go ahead and hook it up, right? Like hook it up, get on the newsletter so that you can get this, and we'll put what we can on social. So let me go ahead and get to the wrap up. Then I'm going to go ahead and take all your questions. So let's dive into the whirlwind that is the Virginia General Assembly. We are halfway through. So you might have seen a lot of posts about crossover. That's because we're halfway through. All the bills from the House are going over to the Senate. All the Senate bills are coming over to the House because bills have to pass both houses and get signed by the governor to become a law. It's a healthy, very long, lengthy process. So here we are. The Democratic Party now has control of both the House and the Senate. And because of that, we've been pushing a lot of bills left, right, and center. And to be quite honest, we are kind of on a roll right now where we have been passing laws that'll raise the minimum wage. We have some newly made gun laws. Some are great. We have some abortion access to reproductive care, safeguard legislation, and we've even got some green lights on what I mean green lights, when we press yes, the light turns green on recreational weed dispensaries on the House side. And I believe, on both sides of the House, there's two different bills, but because it's great to have a like-minded Senate and a House to get these laws through, but we have to keep in mind that we have a Republican governor, right, whose views, values, and things on different take on things may be different. So the governor is kind of a wild card in this game. We have no idea what the governor may veto, what he may sign, or all of that. Like, we just don't know, because right, one of the biggest things that we know on the executive side, and that's the governor's side of branch, is this sports arena deal it's a big deal. And if you don't know about the sports arena deal, right now we've been voting um, on a deal that will bring the Washington Wizards and the Capitals to Northern Virginia. So it's an arena deal, and that's the wild card game. It's like a cat and mouse game between him and the leadership in our parties about what he wants in this deal and how we get the things that we want to get advanced as well. And so the big ticket item is the saga that we have going on the arena bill. In his bill, I mean, and the governor is like all in. That, like, the conversations are pretty thick. They're betting like $2 million on building a new arena for the Wizards and the Capitals, but there's a hiccup because they're the appropriations chair, being the money and finance chair in the Senate, who is the chair is Senator Louise Lucas of Portsmouth, like, hit the brakes on some of his stuff. And she was like, look, on our side of the house, there's finance concerns, there's a lack of Democratic support for it, or lack of Democratic support from the governor. And so it's kind of, it is a political soap opera, but like, that's the nature of politics, of just like having people willing and being to negotiate. That arena bill is still alive on the House side. So there's still a vehicle to possibly get this arena bill on the House. It has to go over to the Senate, but who knows what'll happen if the support doesn't happen in the way that folks want it to. Let me check, make sure. That. So taxes are the next thing on the agenda. The governor wants to sort of shake everything up with a 12% income tax cut and a sales tax hike. But on our side, we're not biting at that, because when we see some of these tax cuts, it is going to hit lower income people in the gut so hard. Just like when you file your taxes this year, your federal taxes, some of us who are not making a whole lot of money are going to be paying more because of tax policy that happened under the previous administration, now rolling in now. So like, we have the best interest of the working class people in mind, specifically when it comes to taxes. I am not kidding you. It is one of the most frustrating things that we do, that we have a difficult time getting the general public to really understand when we're making changes to the tax code, how it affects what they take home, and how it affects their ability to have a good quality of life. So that's a piece. That's a piece of it. We're also sort of really working hard on some responsible gun ownership legislation, like gun locks. There's also an increase in the tax credit for people that do really good things, like buying like, you could buy, I think it's up to $300 if you bought a gun storage. You could write it up, write part of it off, up to $300, like trying to really incentivize people doing the right thing, because quite frankly, we're sick of children passing from guns, like or people in our community. Like, it's I can't tell you the number of headlines we've seen this week, or just since I've been in session, about shootings that are happening. So we are really trying to hit hard with some responsible gun ownership and some gun control things. We've passed more gun laws than you can imagine on our side of the house. But the expectation is, because like I said, we have a governor that sits with different ideology, that he may veto a lot of this stuff. So it's not done once it goes through both sides. But it's also not all doom and gloom. We've done a lot of work on revamping education, and there's been some really bipartisan support on getting some of the educational stuff done. There is some weed bills that are I talked about the weed bills already. Going back to that, I see somebody asked a question about the legalization of marijuana. We'll talk about that. But revamping the education. So we're trying to read out the unfair admission practices, because we've seen that happen at a national level, y'all. Again, if you got questions, drop them in the chat. We've seen that happen at the national level. So we are really trying to make sure that people are getting admitted for and that we are not practicing acceptable discrimination, because I feel like discrimination is only bad when it's not profitable, and that's what happens in our society. It's like, oh, it's not bad until somebody can't make money off of it, right? It's just frustrating. We've rolled out the green carpet for recreational weed, and hopefully that brings some new things to the table with some equity, especially for those disproportionately affected by our previous policies. And the big thing, y'all, is access to reproductive care. It is going to be a roller coaster on this. We have been playing defense, passing bills to protect providers, to protect women, and to protect folks that are coming into our state, and or doctors that are supporting out of state, to make sure that they aren't extradited, to make sure there's a bill, because there's been a movement to actually get rid of contraceptive, like access to contraceptive, whether it's through period. There was a bill. I was like, why do we have a bill that is like saying make sure that you can have contraception? Because there is actually a movement for these things, and we can't play like this stuff won't come to Virginia, because some of it is. There was an egregious bill on the floor that was like eliminating access to reproductive care, even if it's for the life of the mother, rape, incest, anything. And it was wild. It was a whole thing, y'all. It was a whole thing. But we are standing firm and just trying to make sure, good morning, make sure that folks have support. There's also some bills on same-sex marriage. We are gearing up, to sort of ensure that on the anniversary of loving, or not anniversary, on the anniversary of love, right? Yesterday was not a big Valentine's Day, but we are trying to get rid of these old bans on the book that make marriage equality, and make marriage equality the law of the land. Like, do what you do, marry who you marry. Like, I don't know why we're still having this conversation about letting people have the freedom to be their full selves in our space and place, but that's a piece of it. So we've got some bills coming in that is like a dance between progress and tradition. And I'm gonna tell y'all, sometimes, just like I was in the Navy, and I remember they got rid of one of the core values was tradition. They got rid of that. And we just honor courage and commitment, because sometimes tradition ain't fitting for the times. There's a time and place for that. There's some work that we're also doing on local taxes, sprucing up some taxes for schools. Data centers is a big conversation. Paid family leave. I think there's one bill, shout out to Delegate Sewell, who works really freaking hard on paid family leave, like has been doing it since God knows when, and still trying to make it happen. We've got one bill still in the Senate that should come over. And then there's some rent stabilization bills. It is kind of a buffet of policy proposal, but not all the dishes are landing on everybody's plate, y'all. So the cherry on top to what's happening in the General Assembly at crossover, this is my crossover wrap up for y'all, is that there were 2 vacancies in the state corporation commission. And I know some of y'all are probably looking like, what does that even mean? What is the state corporation commission? These are judges, y'all. There are these judges that we select, right? These are the judges that are the arm of the government that regulate our utilities, our insurance, our banking, our business. Like, they are important. We have been down 2 judges, and they make these really important decisions about your quality of life. And we are finally filling these vacancies. That standoff for vacancies has been going on for as long as I've been there, and it is lasted longer than a daggum Netflix binge, for real. So that is a big, huge step towards really getting that arm of the government. Imagine we've done no real work on banking and utilities and insurance and business law. It's these things that I learned and I did not know about the SEC until I got to the legislature, right? So important people doing important jobs, and we need that. And that's pretty much my wrap up of what's happened in the 2024 General Assembly um, since crossover, since pre-crossover. It has been a political roller coaster. I would not lie to you. All the twists, all the turns, all the surprises. But that ride is not over, you all. We still have several more weeks. What is it? We still got a month to go. We still got 4 more weeks to go. So, and it's not over. So I'm going to go in the comments and I'm going to see if there's any questions based off that wrap up. Okay, I got a couple here. David James Glass. I heard SB 448 cannabis bill will be worked out in private between 3 delegates and 3 senators. Is that true? Crossover is still a mystery to me. I cannot confirm or deny, David, if that's what's happening. I am meeting with some advocates this morning about SB 448 because one, I need to, because it's now coming over to the House. And let me just help y'all understand. Hold on, so that I'm not speaking gibberish to anybody. We have 2 bills that are talking about marijuana. And let me make sure that I think this is Rouse's bill, SB 448. Yeah. So we have 2 bills, one by Senator Rouse, one by Delegate Krizik, about establishing a framework for a marijuana marketplace, right? So there are 2 bills. I do not know which one is going to be the vehicle. I am on, if I'm just going off of what I know right now, if I'm going off just what I know right now, I am leaning towards one bill more than the other, supporting one bill over the other. It does have to be worked out. What David is saying is that is there a couple people that are going to get together and then decide what the bill looks like? That is not unusual for people that have worked on an issue for quite a bit of time or have some expertise to sort of get together and figure out how to work the bill. Because quite frankly, from what I'm hearing from advocates, is that bill needs some work. But again, I'm only saying that that's like third party information. I'm only saying that because that is what I've heard. I still need to read the bill. And then I've got, like I said, I've got a meeting this morning with some advocates. I just was very fortunate to be able to sleep in a tad bit this morning. So y'all still have my Airbnb. Don't let crossover be a mystery, David said. A crossover is still a mystery. Bills have a long life to give. Remember, they just have to pass both chambers, the House and the Senate, in order to make it to the governor. So the Senate has to see our bills. We have to see their bills in order for them to make their way. Laws are not made just because somebody was like, yeah. 140 people vote on them. And then the governor, which may not sound like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it is a process. A bill has a hearing. Each bill has a hearing. Each bill, let's put it this way, each bill got to go to court, and they got to go to their mama court, and then they got to go to their daddy court, and then because grandma is the matriarch, they got to go to grandma and get signed off on. That's essentially what happens, going from mom to dad. Oh, you're very welcome, Virginia Adoptier writes, am I saying this right? Alliance, we appreciate you too. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, PJ James. Hopefully the cannabis advocates are the Virginia Cannabis Association. I talk to all, let me just say this. I do not put all my eggs in one stakeholder basket. You know, like what I feel like is we have groups, like there may be 5 cannabis groups and everybody's like, no, only listen to this one. That is not how I do business, because I believe that we all have our own lens. And I like to hear a variety of lenses on how things work. So yes, I will eventually make time to talk with the Virginia Cannabis Association, or maybe they'll be able to talk to my staff depending on like what life is like. But I don't I don't take one group's perspective and roll with it. I just don't. When it is possible for me to get a variety of stakeholder voices, especially with orgs, because I have organizations that I love their mission, love what they do, don't like their views on certain issues, right? Like that's real. So that's why these things are important for us to do too, so that I can hear where your lens is as well. Like that's also important to know, like as we talk to groups, because sometimes groups don't have everyday people's vision in mind. And to be quite honest, sometimes the groups get so heavily politicized that they forget what it's like to be a person outside of the political world. So I think it's important to have all kinds of lenses. Let me go to Facebook to see if there's any questions. Oh, good morning, Elizabeth. Good morning. You're very welcome. Good morning, Miss Charlene. Such a blessing to see you. Hold on, I'm looking. It will greatly impact the Latino community. I wasn't sure. Oh, okay. So Elizabeth said here, also her comment earlier was in reference to the sports complex. It will push out already disparaged Latino community and from historically Latino neighborhood of Arlandia, a neighborhood in Alexandria. There's a lot of pushback because of that. The displacement piece, and the transportation piece and the labor agreement piece. There's so many different parts to this arena deal that are still being worked out. I think part of my sticking point is the labor agreement piece. So like I'm waiting to see and hear what happens. In the House, I voted no for the arena. I still will get another bite at, well, I may not get another bite at. It's going to go to conference, which means there are going to be some people on the Senate and the House side that are going to come together and try to figure out. But it's not giving me the right feels for what I'd like to see in the bill before we move forward for everyday people. Let's see what else you have to say. Oh my God, transportation, it's already a hot mess. Yeah, it's already hot, the hot mess out there. Oh, and you said that's why we trust you and want to hear out all. Yeah. I do. I genuinely want to hear what folk got to say. My opinion ain't the my opinion ain't it's mine, right? And sometimes I'm voting on things based off of what's in me, but a lot of times I'm trying to really make sure that I also get some perspective when I hit that button, and be able to explain my vote. Just so you know, like sometimes when it's really tough and I've got to take a tough vote, or there's pieces to a legislation, there's pieces missing, it's easier for me to explain why I didn't vote for something because of a piece is missing than to just hit yes um, because there are pieces that are great. And sometimes that's a compromise, y'all. Like, all right, like this is really great, but I don't really like this. Is this the thing to walk us forward? There's a lot to consider. And so that's why I ask for grace, and I ask you to give sometimes other political figures grace, because there's a lot that goes into when we're choosing and making that, saying yes or saying no. It's a lot to consider. But we ask for this, so we have to own that responsibility and the accountability, because we believe in the ABCs of governance. Do y'all know what the ABCs are? Y'all know what the ABCs are? A, accountability, B, boldness, C, coalitions, right? That's what pushes us forward. And so without that, we're not doing great. What else? I'm trying to see, are there any other questions, comments, concerns? This was sort of a crossover wrap up for you all. If not, I'll go ahead and make sure I tell y'all about the events that I have coming up. I don't see any other. Let me check over here. Good morning, Mr. Little. Miss ya. None. Hearing none. All right. So I'll still hang on. We got about 2 or 3 minutes left. Please don't forget, Saturday at 10:30, we're having a town hall with the delegation for mid-session. I will send out that email today, and then on tomorrow, if you're not already signed up for if you're not already signed up for the newsletter, you need to go ahead and do it. Like, just go sign up for the newsletter. Don't play. Just do it. Okay? It's not even It's not a thing. Get all the information so you know what's going on with the office. Sign up. Number 2, so mid-session town hall, certified doers day. I need y'all there. You coming to the Capitol with your yellow on March 6th, certified doers day. I just want you to come and advocate and have a good time and share space. That's it. Then I've got Norfolk Can Fly. Norfolk Can Fly is April 27th, right? So hopefully we'll be able to have y'all there. Sound good? Sound great. All right. Value you guys. I do value so much. Certified doers get more done. I will be back in committees hearing Senate bills. So if you're actually watching the General Assembly, you're going to start seeing now that senators are going to be in the House presenting their bills, trying to get their bills passed on our side. I will be not only hearing bills in the Senate, but also presenting my bills in the Senate. So we're gonna be running back and forth. If you're keeping up, I'm gonna try to do more Instagram stories and things so you guys can really see the nature of the really see the work that we put into trying to get a bill passed. All right. Right. If there is nothing else for the good of the order, gratitude for being here. So honored to serve. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email Del. That's DEL J Glass. Let me see if I got it over here. So I ain't gotta let me see this. Nope, can't do that one. Okay, nope. I'm Del. Okay, so Del J Glass at house.virginia.gov. And I'm gonna put it up on the screen for you so that you can, and then at HOUSE House, Virginia spelled out, because that's a thing. Virginia has to be spelled out. .gov. There it is. It's all kinds of caps different ways. So there's my email, deljglass at house.virginia.gov. Connect the dots. We're here. We can get you connected to your people if you need to be connected to your senator or your delegate, whatever works. It's all on you. All right. Until next time, I will see you all next Thursday or on the Flippity Flop, maybe Saturday, whenever. I am Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District. Be well. This has been the Morning Dew, and I am grateful for certified doers just like you. See ya. Oh, Elizabeth said she got 2 spaces in her car. 2 spaces in her car. If anybody wants a carpool. And what else you got here? Yes, EBP is doing her due diligence to uncover what will be the smartest way forward for the sports arena if it comes to their area. That's what we're all trying to figure out, the sports arena. What's going to be the smartest way forward? This is a huge deal for the administration. It would be a huge deal for Virginia. Getting 2 professional sports teams here, it's a big deal. But it needs to, not only does it need to be a big deal, it needs to be the right deal. So I'm here for it. Definitely take your feedback. Lobby me however you need to. All right. See y'all.